Hello, good evening, and welcome to the program. This is Daily Politics on Trust TV. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you most kindly for joining us on the program. As you can imagine, Nigeria is still reverberating with all of the political developments that are shaping the conversation around the state of the nation, as well as what's to come, especially with 2027 being used as a backdrop for the political developments in Africa's most populous democracy. What does this mean for Nigerians, especially who are counting the days to the election day, and what this particular conversation signposts for their welfare and their well-being? Of course, the quality of the current governorship structure that we have has also been under heavy scrutiny of late. And tonight, we will turn our focus on the troubling state of insecurity across the country as Nigerians continue to lose their lives in violent attacks spanning several states, especially in the North Central. We'll examine the response or the lack thereof by authorities tasked with protecting citizens and securing the nation. And as President Tinubu's administration approaches the halfway mark of its tenure, we assess its performance against campaign promises. Has it truly delivered on the pledge to renew Nigerians' hope, or are Nigerians still grappling with poor governance and unmet expectations? Joining us in the studio tonight is Professor Usman Yusuf, former Executive Secretary of the Healthcare Insurance Agency, a renowned expert in hematology, oncology, and bone marrow transplantation. He will help us share insight on leadership and his own experience at the Kuje Correctional Facility, where he spent 24 days in detention over an alleged corruption case during his time in office. And of course, if you don't know that, Professor Usman has been a renowned critic of the Bola Tinubu administration for all the right reasons, one may add. Prof, thank you so much for joining us on the program tonight. I appreciate you for taking the time.
Thank you very much for having me.
Let's start with the obvious question, which is your incarceration. You started 2025 on quite the rocky note. In January, you were arrested by the EFCC, and the next couple of weeks, you spent 24 days in Kuje Correctional Facility. Without getting into the legal details, what can you tell us about that experience?
Yeah, and I wrote about it even while I was in Kuje. So prior to that, and I've said it, prior to that, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government and his Gestapo, they've been monitoring me and my family electronically and physically. We can tell. So what broke the ice was a group of youth, Matasan Arewa, invited me to Bauchi. And this was on the few days on the 27th of January. And I was there in Bauchi and I spoke with them. Majority of the speakers spoke in Hausa, but I spoke in Hausa and English for wider coverage. And I spoke extensively about issues that youth should be facing, not what the politicians are telling them to face. After that, when I came back to the hotel, it was Saturday, I could see strange people in the lobby, in the restaurant, and in the hallway. And I knew they were Bola Ahmed Tinubu's goons tracking me. So when I came back home on the 29th, it was a Wednesday, I had fasted that day. My wife came up in the evening around 6:30. My wife came up to my bedroom and said there are some people that knocked and stepped into the door, two young men in dark suits. They said I was expecting them. So I came down. They say, oh, there are people, they are operatives of the EFCC. They've been asked to come and take me. Take me to where? To the headquarters. So guys, you haven't even introduced yourselves. So they quickly, oh, sorry, sir. They brought out their badges and showed me. Say, why are you taking me? Why is your arrest warrant? Oh, we don't need that. I had come down on my jalabia, no hat and a flip-flop. And I said, okay, let me go upstairs and change. Oh, they blocked me. I asked them, allow my wife to go upstairs and bring me my stuff. They blocked me. They took me into the bus. Oh, by the time we came out of the house, there were like 5 armed policemen there, some at the back of my house, as if I was going to jump and run. I'm not a runner. I went into the bus and the driver was driving crazy as if they'd arrested Turji. And they were high-fiving themselves as if they... So we went in to EFCC, we went directly to their boss, procurement fraud section. And the boss was waiting. So 7 p.m. was waiting. And he gave me a bunch of papers. What are these? So, oh, your charges. What charges? The guy was just waiting to go home. Oh, can you sign for this? I knew if I didn't pick those whatever charges they would keep me there. I needed to give those charges to my lawyers. I signed my phone had gone dead. I had not communicated with my wife and daughter to tell them where I was and how I was doing. Well, they took me. The cells were behind the main building. Nobody had told me, are you going to let me go back home? No, they just took me there and went into the cell and they put me with 4 other youths there. When I got in there, the youth knew me. So they were coming and giving me good wishes. We went in the cell. There were 4 of us. There's very thin mattresses. So they gave me the owner's corner, the one close to the bed. I had fasted. Remember, I hadn't eaten anything. I had a headache because if I don't drink coffee, I have serious headache. So the young man went and got me a sachet water and glass of tea. I drank and I slept off. The next day in the morning, 7 p.m., they went and called my name, oh, we're going to court. Meanwhile, they had stationed their official photographer. When we came out, he was way out there taking pictures. Me in jalabiya, no hat, and so I just realized these guys were out to dehumanize me, weaken my spirit.
You knew you were targeted?
Absolutely. We went into the bus going to court, and I told them, guys, haven't you forgotten something? They said, what, sir? I asked them, how are the chains and the manacles? They started laughing and said, oh, God, it hasn't gotten to that. We went to court. The lawyers were not ready, or they had to. We came back again to EFCC, and they upgraded me to a single cell. Anyway, I was in the EFCC cell for 6 days. So we went to court again, was it on the 12th, for hearing, for them to give me bail. Oh, the judge said, oh, she had a cold. So since I'd been arraigned, I wasn't going back to EFCC. I was going to be handed over to correctional services. So they took me to Kuje, and I was there for 24 days. I was supposed to have bail. It's a constitutionally guaranteed right of anybody that's accused, except if there are mitigating circumstances like murder or terrorism. But they refused me bail and took me back to Kuje for 15 days. And I'm glad they did in many ways, because I learned a lot. And we'll talk about that some more.
Right. Okay. From the outside looking in, a lot of people gave that development so many varying commentaries about what is at play here. Some say this whole case was a smokescreen to silent dissent because the administration has grown intolerant of some of your commentary alongside other critics. And some also say that perhaps let's just treat this case on its merit. Do you think both things can be true?
It's nonsense. The latter is nonsense. The first is the right thing. President Ahmed Tinubu and his government, they are treating all of us, Nigerians, as conquered people, and all of us as his spoils of war. We are barely midway into his first term, a term that's full of deceit, a term that is tribalistic, nepotistic, a term that is hardship inflicting, a term that is state capturing, a term that is intolerant, a term that is not inclusive. President Ahmed Tinubu is using agents of state to stifle any dissent. And that's exactly what it is. He's using that. And that's why the world needs to know. That's why I am writing up. And we are talking about a president who was an ADECO activist himself, who ran across the border and ran away from the military because he was criticizing them, who never gave Obasanjo time to sleep, who never gave, even Buhari was criticizing them, and he cannot stand criticism. Criticizing a government in a democracy is a constitutional right of every citizen, and we're going to continue that. Putting me 6 days in EFCC or 24 days in Kuje will not do that. Even in Kuje, I will continue to speak the truth.
And Prof, is there a chance that the president had nothing to do with this?
Well, that's his problem. It's his government. Whoever else is doing this in his name, we are telling the world this is President Ahmed Tinubu's government being tyrannical and stifling dissent in a democracy. Whoever goes, whichever Gestapo is letting loose, is his government, not them. I have no problems with, is it EFCC, is it that? No, my gripe is with the President Ahmed Tinubu and his government for what they are doing. End of story. And it's not personal for me. I am speaking for what is right and will continue to do that. Continue to do that.
And in talking about this particular case, if you can just take us back, because the EFCC's filings shows that this particular case is some 7-8 years ago, those alleged infractions were committed.
Yeah.
What do you think might have been the motivation behind this? Because you also wrote extensively while incarcerated about what's happening within the healthcare sector, especially with regards to health insurance and coverage for Nigerians.
Right. My fight in the NHIS was public. I've never had a CEO that had a very public fight about what I saw. It's very public. And if anybody goes and Googles my name, he will see my big fight in my 3-year tenure as the executive secretary of the NHIS. What I met there was, we, the NHIS, were supposed to be the regulators. And then the other stakeholders are the HMOs. The HMOs are the middlemen. We give them money to give hospitals. The other stakeholder is the hospital. Of course, the other stakeholder is the ministry. The other stakeholder is the National Assembly. But the biggest stakeholder that nobody was talking about was the patient himself, the people we call enrollees, who would be lost in the shuffle. When I came in, this is what I found. I mean, a big mess, cesspool of corruption everywhere. NHIS, and I said it before and I will say it again. Of all the agencies in this country, the NHIS is an agency that has the potential to make an impactful difference in the lives of our people. Only if that potential is harnessed. But nobody was interested. The NHIS is essentially the CBN of healthcare. At that time when I was there, I was in control of more funds than most of the governors. Cold hard cash, not waiting for any money to come, to pay for healthcare for our people. But nobody is interested in doing this job. From the ministry, the HMOs, even the NHIS, everybody wanted to partake in the buffet of corruption, which I fought. My fight was very public, and people will go and see it. And I've had the privilege of sitting one-on-one with President Muhammadu Buhari, the heat of the battle. And I told him everything. And he said he was laughing, just like he usually does. And he was saying, whatever you're going through will strengthen you and build your character. And also at that time, I was sitting. I had a call from the acting chairman of the EFCC at that time, Ibrahim Mustafa Magu. Never met him. I was one of my 2 suspensions. He asked me to come over to the commission. Went into the commission and he assembled his directors. Walked in, introduced himself and the others and said, Prof, go and bring in all the documents of any HMO bank or any individual or organization that is holding NHIS money. And he walked away. And I gave them all the documents. And to his credit, EFCC of his time swung into action and recovered billions for the NHIS. When I came, nobody in the NHIS could tell me how much money NHIS has and where the money was. A year prior to the time I came in September, end of September 2015, the federal government had directed all MDAs to transfer their monies from commercial banks to TSA account. I came in August the year after, in 2016. When I came, nobody could tell me how much, in my agency, nobody could tell me how much the NHIS was or where the money was. So I commissioned an independent financial firm to go after all our accounts in commercial banks and come and tell me. And they presented the last quarter of 2017 this report to me. Over 13 banks, commercial banks, are still withholding, I don't know, are still holding illegally over 100 billion of NHIS funds. They refuse to transfer it to TSA. And you can be sure somebody somewhere behind is getting the interest.
Right. So what happened? I mean, you clearly unraveled this particular situation. It's quite public. Why did the president then let you go? Because there was this public perception that surely you must have done something wrong for the president to have let you go.
So I think President Buhari was overwhelmed. But at the end, look, at the end, I was suspended twice, and at the end, the DSS stepped in and advised the government, you guys need to handle this thing, because the polity was heating up. Polity was heating up. So what happened was that there was the SGF, they created a presidential committee to investigate the NHIS, so everybody was called, I was called, the minister, they went to the minister, the board, everybody. At the end, the president let me go. He let the board go, and the minister didn't go back. So it's all three of us. He needed a clean slate. I think the president didn't have the stomach for the fight. But I felt I was left in the trenches fighting the fight alone. And that's okay.
Yeah. So what can you tell us about this particular case going forward? I mean, when is your next date?
Yeah, the next date. Trial will begin, inshallah, on the 15th of May. For them to prove the case, and we'll litigate it.
I mean, you've obviously made the correlation between this case that you're dealing with and the administration's quote-unquote intolerance for dissent.
Absolutely.
Will that take the wind out of your sail in terms of how critical you are of the administration?
No. Being critical is a right, and we'll continue to do that. And I said this is a continuation of my fight against corruption in the NHIS. Because some of those that were pivotal in this fight at that time, they are still important in this government. So this is a continuation of that fight, and we'll fight it.
Okay, let's talk about the administration. We're close to the 2-year mark, the halfway line of a first 4-year tenure. I mean, it's safe to say that any Nigerian who has been following your commentary on this administration knows what you're about to say. But what is your glass half full version of what we had experienced so far?
No, okay, the same time last year in May, their first anniversary was all over, and I wrote. Last year, my assessment was deception, destitution, and hopelessness. Last year. I want any Nigerian to tell me if it's gotten any better. Is inflation better? Is a bag of rice better, less than it was? Are children going to school more now? Is security better? We need to be honest with ourselves. This government is only interested in 2027, not interested in governance, not interested in alleviating the sufferings of the people that it has brought onto them. Because all these sufferings are self-made. In a country where we have very good weather, we have rain, we are not officially at war, we have literally been turned into beggars, like you see in the Sudan, or you see in Afghanistan. The son of the president had the audacity during Ramadan to come to the north and dance, and visit our emirs and visit our ulamas, sit on the same chair as them, and dance during Ramadan and distribute cooked rice to our youth. That's insulting. They have no understanding of our people, none whatsoever. There are Muslims in the southwest, there are Muslims in the south. I didn't see the same young man going there and doing this to us, insulting us as if we are a conquered people and we are the spoils of war. It's very insulting.
Some would say that's a bit of an overreaction because his intentions were good.
intentions without common sense. No sense. Life is about common sense and sensitivity. There are places I can't walk in with my shoes. There are places I walk in with my shoes. There are places, I'm 60, whatever. There are places I go and sit down on the floor. There are places I go and sit down with a person. Didn't protocol tell them? And this is lack of common sense coming and disturbing us in Ramadan. Dancing. Using presidential jet. Whoever gave him that clearance to use presidential jet to be going all over the place. Governors were going to the airport to get, in his capacity as what? Can you imagine what the press would have said if it was the only son of President Muhammad Buhari, Yusuf, that was doing what this common son is, this president's son is doing? And oh, there was a singer that brought out that song. Oh, and President Ahmed Tinubu, in his way of being tyrannical, banned that song. This is free speech.
You talk about, let's revisit that expression you used earlier. Deeply unpopular, deceitful, tribalistic, non-inclusive, divisive, recklessly run governments, self-serving, propaganda-fueled, corruption-ridden, hardship-inflicting, state-capturing administration. I mean, let's take them line by line. You talk about tribalistic. Recently, the administration has responded with some data that shows that the North still has significantly more federal appointments than any other region. So is it safe to say then that some of these allegations of tribalism or nepotism are unfounded based on available data?
Right. The thing is, they should stop insulting us. Constitution is violating the Constitution. The Constitution is very clear. Appointment must represent the plurality of this country. There are over 300 ethnic groups in this country. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, every other appointment is a Yoruba person. And Yoruba from Lagos. He did not win Lagos. 5 out of his 8 million votes came from the North. That is 62% of his votes came from the North. By his appointment of singularly appointing Yoruba, over 80% of his appointments are Yorubas. He's violating the Constitution.
It's safe to say that, if we have to take his word for it, continuing from where President Muhammad Buhari stopped, that this is a continuation of what Nigeria has seen under the Buhari administration.
And that is false, patently false. I want them to tell us where. President Muhammad Buhari, if he doesn't know, let me tell him. If Nigeria doesn't know, 4 chief executives from Katsina he fired. 4. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, all the Yorubas that have had infractions in, what's the name, that ministry, Beta Edu's ministry,
Humanitarian Affairs Ministry.
Kept quiet. Look, we are not fools. Nigerians are watching. Nigeria, we are equal stakeholders. All 200 million Nigerians are equal stakeholders in this union called Nigeria. And everybody must be represented. That's why I say it's non-inclusive. If you have a non-inclusive government, if it is divisive, as they are trying to do, the Muslim ticket was nothing but a divisive government, divisive ticket to divide Muslims and Christians in the North. So I want anybody to come and refute what we are saying. And Senator Ndume brought out the facts. And what's his name? One of the advisors came out and said, look, we are not stupid. We've been to many schools. You don't need to go to school to see this. Your government, if you're the president, not even the president, even if you're a local government chairman, you must include everybody. We are not stupid. So don't give us any facts that we are seeing the facts.
You're saying the data is wrong?
Is there? Whose data?
I mean, the data that was released. I think
from whom?
The presidency is...
No, presidency, they came out and apologized. It's wrong. Everybody is seeing it. Every second appointment is a Yoruba. Every second appointment.
And you don't think that there is an argument to be made that President Muhammadu Buhari started this?
Well,
because his administration was also accused of being clannish.
No, which clan?
A majority of his appointments were from the North.
Absolutely. Okay, the North is large. The North is large. Kaduna State alone has 53 languages. Go to Taraba. Go to Plateau. Go to Benue. The North, we know diversity. The Southwest doesn't know diversity. There's only one ethnic group. The North is huge, has multi-ethnic groups. How many people from Katsina were in his government? How many Fulanis? How many houses? Everybody thinks, oh, when you appoint a Northerner, oh, it's a Hausa you are appointing. There are 1,000,001. There is no state of the 19 states in the North that has only one ethnic group. Even Sokoto and Katsina and Kano. None. They don't know Nigeria, they need to know Nigeria. And President Ahmed Tinubu needs to listen to us that criticize him. It's not that we love him, but we love our country more. This is our country. We all are equal stakeholders in this union, and we all must be represented. And wherever we see anything wrong, we will speak up. End of story, because that is what God has given us that right to do as citizens, and the Constitution gave us that right. Mr. President, you're violating the Constitution by doing your Yoruba-centric government. End of story. So don't give us this data that mean nothing. All these ministers mean nothing. Really doesn't.
This is just a breakdown of what had happened under the Buhari administration. Obviously the ministerial, the cabinet, one of the largest that we've had recently, 9 of them were from the northwest, 7 apiece across 4 other geopolitical zones, and the southeast had 6. And other federal appointments, the northwest still had 94, 93 in the northeast, 102 from the north central, and then the rest across the southwest and in the southeast. You understand the divergent views that people are expressing. Whenever this accusation is leveled against Tinubu, they always say, well, what did Buhari do? He did the same, or something like that.
No, Buhari didn't do that. He didn't. He did not do that. So don't.
You think this is not a fair reflection of the same argument?
No, look, if the Northwest, you cannot compare the Northwest with the Southwest. What is the population of the Northwest, for crying out loud? What is the population of the Southwest? Is the Southwest representative of Nigeria, that every other appointment you give only to the Southwest? Look, we are equal stakeholders in this union called Nigeria. If he wants to continue with this Yoruba-centric appointment and government, he should be our guest. Continue doing that. But we are raising our voices and tell him it's wrong. Absolutely. And let's move on.
And just a final point on this one. Do you think the regionalization of the conversation around governance helps us address the problem, or is it worsening the situation that we're dealing with?
No, all politics is local. All politics is local. President Ahmed Tinubu is not representing Lagos, is not representing Yorubas, he's representing the Federal Republic of Nigeria. If you're a senator from my district, you are representing me. When you go to the Senate, you represent me and my issues, not the issues of Lagos. End of story. All politics is local. When you become the president, you take care of everybody else. End of story. End of story. So regionalization, whatever, yes, every region, every person, every ethnic group has the right to advocate for its piece of the pie. End of story.
All right, let's segue into the current state of affairs, especially talking about the all too familiar issue of insecurity. The North Central has been in the news over the past couple of weeks or months. There I say Plateau State, Benue State, Niger State, Kebbi State, Kwara, for instance, most recently with the reported emergence of a new terror group. In a visit to Benue State, the National Security Advisor did allude to how they have inherited quite a dire situation, which explains their inability to solve the problem based on the expectations of Nigerians. Do you think there is a need for Nigerians to manage their expectations when it comes to what the administration can do regarding security?
Right, look, so there is a saying that leaders have forfeited the right to make any excuses. Emilocom, they all know that. They are the ones who say they can do it. Don't come and give us excuses. Oh, we inherited this, oh, you inherited. Who are you going to blame next? God, Jesus Christ, and Moses? Leaders have forfeited the right to make any excuses. Whatever situation you find yourself, find a way to navigate and do what is right during your time. Don't blame the last government, which they've been doing. Buhari has done his time. We have committed him to the judgment of history and God Almighty. Jonathan has done his too. Eradua is there with God Almighty. God will judge him. Now it is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and all the lieutenants he gave. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, if you notice, he is the first commander-in-chief in this country that's hands off on security. All he talks about the economy. He's outsourced the security to the security agencies and the NSA. Where is he? Shouldn't he be in Benue? Shouldn't he be in Plateau?
Hasn't he empowered the North enough, Prof, to address this issue?
No, look.
I mean, the Minister of State for Defense is from Zamfara.
Look, you can bring the Minister of State from anywhere, Minister of whatever from anywhere. Is not empowering. It is your government, Mr. President. And we need to see you hands-on. We need to see you there. We did not vote for Minister of State or Minister or the NSA. We did not vote for any one of them. They are your appointees. It is you that God Almighty and all of us will hold responsible. End of story.
Do you think he's really not hands-on when it comes to...
He hasn't been. He's never been. Oh, you don't need to. How many times has he visited anywhere? How many times has he talked about security? You don't see him hands-on. He is there releasing sterile statements about security. People do not feel the president is there for them when he should be there. You send in surrogates that go there and give you data. Oh, in the last year, we have cleared 90% of security. For goodness sake. If this is what they're telling him, then we're in serious trouble.
What do you make of the current security challenges in the North Central? Because there's a lot of talk about land grabbing, this existential crisis that continues to inundate the polity, dividing people along ethno-religious lines. How concerned are you about these threats that we're dealing with?
So I've over the last 6 years, I have immersed myself in security, mostly this banditry issue. I and Sheikh Gumi, we went into the forest at the risk of our lives and met all of these guys. Some are killed, some are still alive. Why? Because this is our land, this is our people that are being killed. If we don't get involved and wait, the military or the government will take care of it, nobody will. We must get involved. That was why we went in. And this is one of the lessons I found. All the security challenges in this country, the problems are local. Solutions must be found locally. All the big plans from Abuja, without consulting locally, they have never worked and will never work. Gandhi said, whatever you do for me, without me, it's against me. Almost all the security challenges you see, they are not military problems. They are social problems. You expect the military to take care of the problems in Benue and the Plateau? You do? This is a social problem. Where are the elders? Where are the elders? If you can put the whole of the Nigerian army in those axes, they will not solve the problem if you do not take care of the fundamental problems in those communities. And it's not only in Benue, Plateau, Kaduna, Sokoto, Katsina, wherever. If people do not come in and take care of, and the chief of army staff said as much, and I could see his frustration. That this is not the military. The military cannot solve this problem. We need to be very careful. We are putting the military in situations to clean up after the mess of politicians. Most of the things they are doing is just police work. When we were young in school, you don't see the military all over the place. And that was a military regime. Now the military is all over, in all the 36 states and the federal capital territory. Everywhere the military, in a democracy. During the military, we never used to see them. When you have issues like this, mobile police, when mobile police comes into town, you know, the bad guys know some big guys are in town. Everybody gets. Now, whereas the mobile police, They are here guarding August and their wives and their side chicks.
Well, that seems to be one of the issues, and we understand that the Inspector General of Police has granted yet another directive again to withdraw some of these allocations from very important personalities in the country. I mean, that has been the norm or the standard that has been made over the past couple of years, even though the implementation has left much to be desired. But in talking about security, Lieutenant General T.Y. Danjuma recently did make another point again about communities taking care of their own security, defending themselves. The governor of Jigawa State countered that this could lead to anarchy. But if we piggyback off of what the governor of Borno State recently about the Nigerian military losing ground to Boko Haram, and you factor in all of these issues across the regions, right? How concerned are you that a self-help is not only going to become an advice, but a no-brainer for all the communities affected?
Right. I mean, so why would anybody pick up guns or clubs or whatever to protect themselves? You ask. The fundamental look at the Constitution, the only reason for a government being a government is to protect the welfare of the people and secure its people. So anywhere you see that, it means government has failed. End of story. Government has failed. I lived in the United States where people have the right to carry guns, right? And an efficient army, efficient Coast Guard, efficient everywhere, people carry arms. Once ever so often, somebody just goes postal and spray people and die. But here what we are seeing, the lapses we are seeing, all the insecurity we are seeing, and the cries of people to protect themselves, to pick up arms and protect themselves is because government has failed. Government needs to look at this and say, yes, we have failed. You can blame Buhari, you can blame Jonathan all you want, but it is not Buhari or Jonathan in the villa now. It is President Ahmed, Tinubu, and the security. You know, the previous government, when the NSC used to come out and speak his big grammar, we're going to change the architectural. So we are still talking the same thing. We have not moved an inch.
You're saying this is absolute failure?
Absolute failure in any government where people are yearning to pick up guns and all that. General T.Y. Danjuma, what has he not done for this country? In his youth and his generation, they put up uniform and stitch this country back together. We're not going to allow them rest in their evening years. We have all these marauders, all these criminals pillaging the land all over. And we sit down and say, all is well, all is not well. Government has failed.
The government says opposition figures like you are exploiting the situation to give a dog a bad name so that it will be hanged on election day. Is there a chance that there is some truth to that? That, you know, while the situation is quite dire, it is an oversimplification to say that any administration could have fixed this in less than 2 years.
Right. Show us what you've done. Nobody is saying fix it, but show us what you have done. I have been in this fight longer than all these new appointees. Expose our lives to all these places. And all these new guys in Kwara, they say, Mahmudawa, they are new. No, they are not new. They were the Ansaru under their leader, Mahmuda, and they moved to that place, Mahmudawa. So they are not new. Just like they're saying, oh, Lakurawa, I knew. The Lakurawa have been there since 17. They are not new. So government has been asleep and letting this thing escalate. So, and I say, I'm a doctor. Without a diagnosis, you cannot write a prescription. All these governments, they do not have a diagnosis. They want to fight. This fight will go until kingdom come. Will go until kingdom come. The late Chief of Army Staff said it when I was saying that the troops are tired, soldiers are tired. So Boko Haram 16 years. This bandits for 11 years now. There is no military that can withstand this much elasticity. They're everywhere. How many are they? They are deployed all across the land. Fighting who? Not a foreign power. As they are trained to, fighting their own people. Soldiers are tired. Many are developing PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Some are resorting to drugs. The Chief of Army Staff, late Chief of Army Staff said it. This is a cry for help from a commander to his political leaders. All is not well. Do something about it. All we are doing is just internal policing.
So the buck stops at the desk of the president, no matter how
no one else, no one else. And I don't want any of your surrogate coming and telling me anything differently.
Okay, let's segue into some politics now. The coalition talks have been gaining some ground over the past few months. Over the period of the Ramadan fast, when you came out, you paid a visit to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, broke fast together. You've been associating yourself with that cycle for quite some time now. Give me an understanding about what is actually the end game here, because it looks like an attempt to grab power by uniting all the forces together. What do you think of your motivation? Because some people question the motivation of the coalition that is taking shape right now.
Right, and I'm not part of the coalition. I came out, I went to see the Waziri Adama, Atiku Abubakar. He's an elder I respect. And he was very vocal in supporting me while I was incarcerated. So I needed to go and say thank you to him. And also I went to see Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed this weekend when he gave his daughter out in marriage. Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed is also my elder brother, many brothers removed. And I went to thank him too for his support, even though he was in government. And also to strengthen him. He did the right thing, jumping this ship, and we're happy to have him back. The purpose of all of this government, President Ahmed Tinubu's government, tyrannical government, must not be allowed to continue beyond 2027. We'll do it the legal way. Ballot of our people. That is why we are telling our people, your freedom is in your hands. Your ballot paper. That is what is going to make you get your liberation. All this hunger they put you, all this difficulty, all this, for what? And I tell youth, wherever you go, don't let anyone deceive you with ethnicity or religion. Because you've tried the Muslim. Is the Muslim that has inflicted more pain to you than any other. We didn't have this pain when you had a Christian president. So all this ethnicity and religion, forget it. Look at a person or a party that will make your lives better. So President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, by the time 2027 rolls in, we have data to interrogate and present to our people. Is your life better today than it was before this government came? And this is how we're going to make your life better.
Prof, some analysts have accused northern leaders like you of becoming politically entitled, to say that power is best served if it's under a northern leadership, and that is the only reason why Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is facing this much pushback from the north, because the understanding is that power rotates from the north to the south. Reportedly, after 8 years.
Whose understanding? Whose understanding? Is it there in the Constitution? And if anybody tells me
it's like
that,
one of those unwritten rules.
No,
you just know that
unwritten.
this is how it's supposed to be.
Nigeria is a constitutional democracy, not a backdoor thing where they're smoking cigar and coming up with things. We are all equal stakeholders, and we have the Constitution to go by. And nobody in the South or the Southwest has the right to say the North is this. Hello, the North brought President Bola Ahmed Tinubu when his people in Lagos rejected him. We gave him 5 out of the 8 million votes. What did he get in the Southwest? 2-point-something million. In the Northwest, we gave him 50% of that 5-point-something. So we are the ones that brought him. So do not accuse the North for doing this. It is the North that brought President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Lagos rejected him. Katsina, where I come from, voted for him. So don't give us the ethnic thing. And yes, it is the constitutional right of any citizen to go and vote for whoever he wants to vote for.
So, Prof, you don't believe in power rotation?
Power rotation to what? Show me. We are a constitutional democracy.
I mean, you talk about inclusivity in your
That's what inclusivity is.
I mean, if it's only one region of the country gets to, because of its numerical strength, get to rule this country, don't you think that that's going to be problematic?
What is democracy?
Government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
So who votes?
The people.
So you're going to Kano and Katsina and say, you must vote for this guy. Or you're going to Olu and say, you must vote for this guy. We do constitution. Nobody would have contested President Ahmed Tinubu coming in 2027 if he's doing the right thing. Because these people you think are not inclusive are the people that brought him. Nobody would have contested his coming. The North voted for Jonathan. The North voted for Obasanjo, not with a gun to their head. So don't give me that story of North, South. We brought President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Katsina voted for him when Lagos, where he's from, did not vote for him. And it is our right to change whoever we want to vote for.
We're seeing the traffic go in two different directions. While the coalition is gaining some momentum on one hand, on the other hand, you see the APC gaining some sort of traction, especially in the political elite circle. You see some PDP governors pondering, jumping the ship and join the APC. And obviously the disarray in the political, the main opposition political parties like the PDP and the Labour Party leaves much to be desired because of their internal wranglings. What do you make of the two situations? How the coalition is shaping up and the ground that APC is making, especially in the southern part of the country?
Right. Let the APC make whatever grounds they want to. Let them go into the ocean, go across the Sahara. We have now. We voted for a president to do work for us now. He's had an abysmal 2 years. He's not going to correct it. He's looking forward to get another 4 years. From day one, his attention has been to go to 2027. Not to make the lives of Nigerians better. Not to make the lives of Nigerians, so he can get whatever governor, he can intimidate whatever governor or whatever he wants. His FCT minister can make all the noise, he can declare all the state of emergency he wants. The people will decide on 2027. But, Mr. President, you have 2 years to correct the mess you've created over the last 2 years. We are fed up with this fixation with 2027 when our people are dying of hunger. When our land is drenched in blood all across the land. Benue, 50, Plateau, 100, Katsina, 200, Zamfara, this. And you are there in Lagos or in France or wherever you are talking about 2027.
He's actually back in the country, I'm not sure.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. What manner of president did we elect? What manner of president did we elect? We did not elect you to look at 2027. And anyone, you can write or say whatever you want to say about 8 years, North, South, or whatever we're looking at now. The North brought President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to power. He's not done anything for this country but created hardships of this country. We're going to the second year in 4 weeks. And you're looking ahead instead of looking how are you going to, and the arrogance. Doesn't care about what people say. And the National Assembly or do nothing National Assembly that are just there to stamp whatever he says. That's just a disgrace, to be honest. They truly are.
And if we have to consider that if an election is going to be conducted today, what will stop President Bola Ahmed Tinubu from winning an election?
He will lose, not only lose, but he will lose and lose his he used to say, lose his deposit. I do not see, I'm from Katsina, I do not see anybody. All his surrogates from Katsina, they can say, or they can tell him whatever lies they want to tell him. People are fed up. Mr. President, listen to the voice of the people. Listen to us that criticize you. It's not because we love you, but we love this country more. People are suffering. All these people that come and lie to you and say security is better, or life is better, the economy, the GDP, We live with the people. We see the sufferings of our people every day. Life is hard for people. Oh, electricity, how many hours? You had a front page on Daily Trust the other day. Kano, Kasana, and Jigawa, they get only 2 hours of electricity every day. And here we have a minister talking about, oh, A band, B band, Z band. And then Aso Villa, they've given up on the collapsed grid. And they are going to spend 10 billion for solar. This government is disconnected.
Prof, they say that's just plan B. That's not to say that they are jumping the ship and leaving the people with the national grid.
Who?
The presidency's explanation that there's nothing unusual about it.
Look. Believe what you may about this government, but we've had many. People have lost hope. There is a chasm, a widening chasm between the people and the government. People do not trust whatever, not only the central government, but the state governments tell them, because they do not see any difference in their lives. They go to the market every day, they see workers. Have they been paid the minimum wage? Even the military, even soldiers in the war front, have they been paid the minimum wage? They are there putting their lives to protect us, and all over. And they here in Abuja, it's one lie in the morning, in the afternoon is a different one, in the evening, and they come out in a $1,000 suit talking big grammar that is meaningless. They need to get out of Abuja and go and see their people. Yeah. And that is the purpose. If I'm a president and appoint ministers, that's the purpose of appointing ministers from all over the country. Go to your people, come back and give me feedbacks.
Right. Prof, some have also accused opposition voices of pandering to Nigerians, weaponizing the suffering of the country because of the economic hardship, which, by the way, cannot be completely divorced from global developments, right? But that all the key political figures in the opposition are well-known people with proven track records. Does anybody on the other side inspire you to say that, listen, if today Nigerians decide to go with an alternative in 2027 other than President Bola Tinubu, what are the chances that these problems can be addressed?
It's just the political will. The political will and honesty and sincerity of the people. People are suffering. You spend billions to go and buy a brand new aircraft for a creature comfort. You're spending 10 billion for your solar. You're sending billions for your luxury cars. And you are telling us in Easter, please bear with us, please this. You should listen to people. I had a beautiful homily by Pastor Tunde Bakari during this Easter, talking to the president and members of the National Assembly. And this is what all men of God in all religions should be telling our leaders. People are suffering. It is the duty and responsibility. It is responsible. This government, they are the ones that are responsible for the sufferings of our people. This is what religious leaders should be talking about, not fighting themselves or not getting money and keeping quiet.
You would encourage them to step in and discuss the polity?
Absolutely. It's not discussing the polity. What Tunde Bakri said is speaking the truth. And that is what the scripture, that is the way the scripture put on clerics, on clergy, all over the world. No cleric will sit down there and see his people suffering and dying of hunger while he has the big rise that came from Abuja and keep quiet. This is not going to end there. It will all consume us. These people were saying as bandits, we used to laugh at them. Now we run away. They captured the general and they had to pay to get him out. A general that has served his country for over 30 years. A general that has served his country for over 30 years. This is a sign of failure and a big blow to a government and the security agencies. None of us is safe. None. So if we are here in Abuja deceiving ourselves that all is well, this thing will consume us. I've been in this country since I've been back. I've seen the number of people dying, the number of states going that way, the number of local governments go. And if they think whoever it is inciting violence elsewhere for their 2027 agenda, it will consume them. But God Almighty will have mercy on people and make sure those criminals in and out of government that are inciting all of this, God will deal with them.
Right. Prof, finally, let's get your forecast on what if the coalition doesn't get its act together. What if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu wins 2027? What then?
Well, that's too much it's too hypothetical. We have 2 years to go. I have never seen a government since I've been back. I came back during Jonathan's time. Never seen a government just 2 years, barely midway, is getting so much trouble. So much trouble. He's not focused on doing the right thing. He is deceitful. He is trying to divide people. He's not inclusive. He's trying to grab money for his friend
You're accusing the president of corruption?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is his government. This is his government. That Lagos-Calabar highway of 15.6 trillion, did it go through the due process? Did it? Was it appropriated by the National Assembly? No money should be spent, not a kobo, by any executive that is not appropriated by the National Assembly. Well, they were blaming President Buhari ways and means of spending 22 trillion in 8 years. But Mr. President spent 15.6 trillion.
Yeah, the National Assembly gave it a green light at the end of the day.
Later. And one project, you spend that percentage of the national budget without going through due process. You are declaring state of emergencies everywhere. And we come to the National Assembly, it's a voice vote. I mean, we are in serious trouble. These are the crop of people we have in the National Assembly that should be checking the president. And the judiciary is not doing its part. They are all together in cahoot. And we think all is going to be well. Mr. President, listen to us. Us that speak against your government, that tell you the fault of this government, we are the ones you should be listening to, not locking up.
All right, Prof, interesting conversation as always. Thank you most kindly for joining us. We do hope we'll see you in the near future to discuss more of these developments as they continue to unfold. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Right, and with that, we wrap things up for tonight's edition of the program. Thank you so much for joining us on Daily Politics. We will be back tomorrow live at 8 p.m, exclusive as always on Trust TV. Until next time, I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for your time. Good evening.